next step is to make the tenons. Now we've routed mortises in the ends and the edges of the boards, and these mortises are 3/8 of an inch wide by 1 3/4 inches long. So we need to make tenons that fit into those mortises. This tenon, which is pre-made, is 3/8 of an inch thick, actually just slightly under 3/8 of an inch thick, so it fits easy. And then it's also a 1/16 inch less in width, so it's 1 11/16 inches wide. Now if you look closer, these tenons also have a round over on each edge. So in this case, since it's 3/8 of an inch stock, we've put a 3/16 round over on both edges. These are cut out of the same materials as the rails and stiles. The easiest way to make the tenons is on the table saw. Start by ripping the tenons to 1 11/16 inches wide, 1/16 inch less in width than the length of the mortise. Make sure and rip a couple boards so you have enough tenons. And then resaw this piece in half. You can easily do this by setting the blade height about 1/4 inch more than half the width of the tenon. Then readjust the fence 3/8 of an inch from the saw blade. And then with the board on its edge, make one pass. Make sure and use a push block to keep your fingers away from the saw blade. After you've made the first pass, go on ahead and flip it over and make a second pass. It's a good idea at this point to go on ahead and test fit the tenon before you move on to the next step. If you need to, you can always shave a little bit more off. Once that's done, now it's time to do the roundovers. Now you can use a handheld router, but I actually like to set up the router table for this. And the reason is that I like to align the fence with the bearing of the router bit. This gives me plenty of support as I'm routing the edge. Using a couple push blocks, go on ahead and route all the edges of the tenon stock. Now you can test fit those tenons in the mortise. Once you're satisfied with the fit, now all you have to do is cut the tenons to length. In this case, our mortises are 1 1/4 of an inch deep in both pieces. So that would give us a 2.5 inch long tenon, less 1/8 for clearance, which equates to 2 3/8 of an inch long. The easiest way for me to cut these off is just to simply do it on the miter saw. Alright, now we have all of our tenons cut and it's time to dry assemble the frame to check the fit. So I'm just going to go on ahead and put these remaining tenons in our mortises. Just like that. We'll fit this lower rail in place. Get our center rail in place. Now our upper rail. We'll rotate this down. Get these guys in. This bottom aligned, look how easy that fit together. How nice is that? And there you go. Now you'll notice that there's a little bit of play on these pieces, and that's by design. Part of the reason is for a glue relief, but the other reason is that you can adjust these parts and align these rails right up with our marked lines on the stiles. Now I can clamp it up, make sure everything fits right, take it back apart, apply glue, and clamp it back up again. Next week we're going to go through and show you a few little tricks on how to make loose tenon joinery look like through tenon joinery. So make sure and tune in again.